Hi, Cindy for the Mill of Kingstown. Today we're going to talk about native plants, give you an idea of a few that we carry that are really nice, and let you know that we carry a lot more than this. I love native plants. My yard is a certified wildlife habitat, a certified butterfly habitat. I'm going to say probably 80% of the plants in my yard are native. So let's talk about them a little bit. The first one we'll talk about here is Aesculus pavia. This is the red buckeye. I really like this plant. It's a small tree. It'll get about 15 to 20 feet tall. Gets a very bright red, upward facing type of panicle. Tubular red flowers. Mine at the house, which is older, of course this is a young one, it's not going to bloom right away. Probably has 40-45 flower stalks on it at this point. And normally when it opens you will really start seeing the hummingbirds come in. I don't know, to me, if you can really correlate those two. So it's a nice little tree. It'll take part shade, which is kind of nice if you have part shade location. The next plant we'll talk about is Linosaur sempervirens. This is our native honeysuckle. I really love native honeysuckle, so do the hummingbirds. These guys will bloom pretty much April, May into June. And then there's a couple cultivars of this that'll bloom even longer. This one does get the red berries on it, which the birds also like, so it's also good for native songbirds. Tubular flowers, orange to red in color. The corolla's in the center, kind of a little yellow, but just fantastic for the hummingbirds and stuff like that. They're not aggressive. They don't run like the Japanese honeysuckle with the white flowers that we see so much of. We also carry Calmia, lotifolia, Calmia laurel, a type of laurel. They're really nice. They bloom. They take basic soils, which is kind of cool. Mildly acidic, but not acidic like we would think an azalea or something like that would like. They grow very well down around Betterton. We see a lot of these natively, where they have a lot of minions or where the oyster shells are piled up, keeping the soil a little more, calcium in it, a little more basic. Nice evergreen plant, flowers early in the mid-spring. Beautiful flower, so it's a nice one. The one thing about Calmia you have to watch, as with a lot of the laurels, is they are deadly to grazing animals. Not so much the deer, which, may or may not be looked upon as a good thing, but goats and cows and stuff like that. So watch planting that around, areas if you have any of those. We'll go across the back and we'll talk about some of the shrubbery we have. We have several different varieties of Ilex glabra, which is the native holly. This is shamrock. It's a small one, evergreen, ball-shaped. Nice little narrow, small leaf on it. This one down here is densa. It's got a bigger leaf, you can see. It's going to get 4 to 5 feet tall by 4 feet wide. It's a ball-shaped, but whatever you want. These can be used as foundation plants. They like a little bit loamy soil. They can take it wet. They can take it dry once established, so they're nice for that. We'll also talk about the hydrangeas. We carry a lot of the oak leaf hydrangeas, which are native. We also carry arborescens, or Annabelle, as some of us know. It's the big white puffball, which is really nice. This one will get 3 to 4 tall by 3 to 4 wide. I have several of these in my yard. The neat thing with Annabelle that I really like is if you run into a drought situation, it doesn't fold quite as readily as some of the other puffball hydrangeas that are non-native. So it's tough that way. I've seen them lose their leaves and close down in a drought where you couldn't get a hose to them, and then next spring they come back. So they are tough plants. We carry a lot of the native viburnums. This is dentatum, which is arrowwood viburnum. Straight stems, as you can see, going up. This is what the Native Americans used to make their arrows, hence the name arrowwood viburnum. Gets a nice leaf on it, white flowers, which are, fairly decent for pollinators. It's an open umbel. And then they get blueberries on them, which your songbirds really like. And they grow fairly upright and tidy, which I think is a really nice thing about this particular viburnum. We carry several other ones, prunifoliums, we carry trilobums, we carry, a lot of the different ones that are native here in our selections. As for some of our perennials, the Husker Red Penstemon, it is a cultivar, but it's beard's tongue. Mine in my garden really didn't go away this year. It never really got cold. They have a nice maroon leaf on them. The new growth you can see is coming through on this one. It'll come up as green and kind of changes it. Gets a white tubular flower on it. This is good for hummingbirds and butterflies. And it's also a nice cut flower for arranging, but I just like the color in the garden. We carry the Lobelia Cardinalis, and this is what they look like right now. They're not beautiful, but that'll fill in. You can see all the new growth coming. A lot of the old leaves will die back. This one blooms in mid to late June. It's a nice, tall, bright red flower stalk that hummingbirds really like. This plant grows in full sun as long as the soil is good and moist. You will find this natively, like if you're hiking in the woods and you come across a little stream. The stream sides. It's not in the stream. It doesn't want to be inundated, but up on the sides of the stream where the sun comes through is where you see this one natively. This is a Carex, or Carex as some people like to call them. It's a native sedge. These are really nice plants. We carry several different native ones. This is Plantagenet. Just really nice. It's getting ready to flower. It gets a little flower stalk on it, which essentially looks like a grass head, more or less. But these are nice plants, and being native, they can handle the soils here, the clay soils, the sandy soils. This is why, you know, I really like native plants. They're from here. They've been here for thousands of years. The cool thing I try to tell people is they don't need as much care. If they've been here for thousands of years, then until the past 100 years, they were never fertilized, and they did great. So I think they're very resilient. This is Martensia, the last one I'm going to talk about, Martensia virginica. It is called bluebells, native bluebells. Part shade on this one. Nice big leaf. All of mine in my yard, I started with 4. Probably 3 or 4 years ago. I now have over 20 in the yard. Reseeds fairly readily as long as you don't go cleaning out the flower bed and cutting everything back. And it's actually turning into a big patch of them. They're absolutely gorgeous. Great for your pollinators early on in the season. The bumblebees are all throughout mine right now. Just a beautiful, beautiful flower for this time of year. So I hope that helps you make some decisions about native plants. We carry a ton of them here. I really believe in them, and a lot of the people around here do. We work with a lot of the different organizations that are into natives. So give us a call, talk to us, send me an email. Thanks.